Summary of Marionettes, Inc. by Ray Bradbury. Smith has been trying to get his friend Brawling to go out for a quiet drink for the past 10 years. Tonight, Brawling finally agreed. Smith jokes and asks his friend if he had to sneak out of the house by putting sleepy pills in Mrs. Brayling's coffee. Brawling says that would be unethical. Both of the guys have been married for 10 years, so they talk about their relationships. Brayling's is especially bad because he was tricked into marrying his wife because she threatened to say he raped her if he didn't marry her. At the time, Brawling was about to go to Rio, but because of all the trouble with the woman who would become his wife, he never got to go. Brawling shows Smith a plane ticket to Rio and says that things are about to change. Smith is happy for his friend, but he worries that Mrs. Brawling won't be happy about him going away. Brawling says that he has found a way to be gone for a whole month without his wife even knowing, but that he will explain it to Smith later. The men talk about how Smith's marriage is also not good because his wife Nettie loves him too much. She doesn't let go of him very often, and she shows him a lot of love that he doesn't want. When the men get to Brayling's house, Brawling points to a window on the second floor. Smith looks up and sees a guy looking down at them who looks just like Brawling. Brawling tells Smith to put his ear against the man's chest when he comes outside. Smith reluctantly agrees, and he hears a tiny ticking sound. Brawling says that the guy, whom he calls Brawling 2, is a marionette made by Marionettes, Inc., which is a secret business. On its business card, Brawling 2 says, "New humanoid plastic models for 1990, from $7,600 to our $15,000 deluxe model." Brawling says that he has kept the puppet locked up in a trunk in the basement for the past month, but that tonight is the first time he has used it. Brawling says that his plan is highly ethical. Smith says he wants a puppet so he can get away from his wife for a little while, maybe just one night a month. Smith says goodbye to Brawling and then looks at the business card. It says, clients must swear to secrecy, because even though Congress is working on a bill to legalize Marionettes, Inc., it is still a felony to use one if you are caught. The card also says that clients must have a full body mold made and a color index check done on all of their features. The whole process takes at least 2 months. Smith thinks that 2 months isn't too bad and that he can take $8,000 from the account he shares with Nettie, where they have a total of $15,000, and tell her it's for a business effort. Smith finds his bank book when he gets home. When he opens it, he sees that $10,000 are stolen from their bank account and they only have $5,000 left. He starts yelling Nettie's name and accusing her of buying more hats, perfume, and bags, or even that small vacation home on the Hudson River that she's been thinking about for months. Smith wakes up his wife and begs her to tell him what she did with all of his money. Suddenly, he has a terrible thought and presses his ear against his wife's chest. Tick, 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 tick. Brawling 2, on the other hand, gets angry when it's time to go back in the tools. He doesn't like being stuck in the toolbox, thinks it's wrong that Brawling gets to go to Rio, and has also fallen in love with Brayling's wife. Brawling runs out of the cellar as fast as he can when he realizes his puppet has gone bad. But the marionette grabs him and tells him not to run. The puppet says slowly that he is going to lock up Brawling, lose the key for good, and take Mrs. Brawling to Rio. Brawling tries hard to talk to him, but the puppet says, "Goodbye, Brawling," which is very scary. After 10 minutes, a kiss on Mrs. Brayling's face wakes her up. She tells her husband in a low voice that he hasn't kissed her on the cheek in years. Someone says, "We'll see what we can do about that."
About the author. Ray Bradbury was born in 1920 in Waukegan, Illinois, but he spent most of his childhood in Los Angeles, California. In high school, he started writing short stories as a hobby, but it didn't take long for this to become his life's work. In 1941, a magazine called Super Science Stories bought his first short story. After a few years of writing in small magazines, one of Bradbury's stories was included in the 1946 version of the Best American Short Stories, which is a famous yearly book. This, along with the release of Fahrenheit 451 in 1953, made Bradbury a well-known author. Bradbury wrote a total of 11 books. All of them started as short stories that he put together in different ways to make a longer, more complicated story. For example, in The Illustrated Man, each of the 18 stories, which had already been published in magazines, can be read on its own. However, when read in order, they build on each other. Bradbury was 91 years old when he died. He had written hundreds of short stories and won many awards, such as the National Medal of the Arts, a Pulitzer Prize Special Citation, an Oscar mention, and an Emmy Award. Bradbury married Marguerite McClure in 1947.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.